Hello, this is Heidi Holycross-Lui at the University of Northern Colorado. Today we're going to be focusing on Unit 22, and we're going to be talking about how to use comparative and superlative adverbs. So let's go ahead and get started. A lot of this is similar to how we made comparisons using adjectives, so some of this may feel familiar to you. But here, we're going to make comparisons with adverbs. To make comparisons with adverbs, you use an action verb. So the patterns here are as plus adverb plus as, which compares actions that are similar. Not as plus adverb plus as compares actions that are not the same. Comparative adverbs plus than compares how the actions of two people or things are different. And superlative adverbs, which compares one action with the actions of many other people or things. We can also use comparative adverb plus and plus comparative adverb to show how something is increasing or decreasing. We can also use the plus the comparative adverb plus the comparative adverb to show cause and effect. We'll talk more in detail about both of these, and let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at some specific examples. The Australians played as well as the French. The children scored as highly as the adults. The waitress brought our food as quickly as the waiter. So how do you show that two actions are the same? If you look carefully at these sentences, let's see if you can figure it out. If you guessed that the form is as plus the adverb plus as, great job. So in our examples, played as well as, scored as highly as. And the last one, brought our food as quickly as. Let's move on to another example. The French didn't cheer as loudly as the Australians. The boys didn't draw as well as the girls. So here we're showing that two actions are not the same. So what's the pattern? Go ahead and pause and write it down. Here the pattern is verb plus not plus as plus the adverb and plus as again. So in the examples, did not cheer as loudly as the Australians, didn't draw as well as the girls. So let's look at these examples. At first, the Australians played harder than the French. The Australians cheered the loudest of any fans in the game. So how do you form the comparative of short adverbs, such as hard or loud? Go ahead and write it down if you can figure it out. If you figured out that you add er to the adverb, great job. Let's look at the second sentence. The Australians cheer the loudest of any fans in the game. Let's figure out how you form the superlative form of short adverbs, such as loud. Go ahead and take a minute and write it down. Alright, if you figured out that you add the plus the adverb plus est, you did it perfectly. So our example, cheer the loudest, you have the verb, the, loud is the adverb, and then you added est to it. Let's see if you can find the comparative and superlative forms in these sentences. The Italians blocked Nixon more effectively than the French. Nixon got the ball less consistently than in other games. Thomas scored the most consistently of anyone on the team. And finally, Nixon played the least intensely of anyone on the team. Here, the comparative forms are more effectively and less consistently. The superlative forms are the most consistently and the least intensely. How do you form the comparative of long adverbs? Remember, long adverbs are ones that have more than 2 syllables. If you figured out that you add more plus the adverb or less plus the adverb, you did a great job. So in our example, more effectively, less consistently. How do you form the superlative of long adverbs? If you figured out that you have the plus most plus the adverb, or the plus least plus the adverb, great job. This is very similar to the adjectives, right? So it should be familiar to you. Okay, I know that we covered a lot of material, so let's go ahead and review. So I have the form and the pattern on the left, usage is in the middle, and then example sentence is on the far right. So let's get started. As plus adverb plus as compares the equal actions of two people or things. So Jessica played as intelligently as her brother. If you have just as plus the adverb plus as, it compares the equal actions of two people or things, but this makes the comparison stronger. Jessica played just as intelligently as her brother. This is a much stronger example than the first one. If you have a verb plus not plus adverb plus as, this compares the actions of two people or things that are not equal. Mary did not play as intensely as her sister. For the next one, even more plus an adverb compares the actions of two people or things that are not equal, but this makes the comparison stronger. Karen played even more effectively than her brother. If you have even less plus an adverb, this also compares the actions of two people or things that are not equal, but this comparison is weaker. Mark played even less effectively than Mary. Okay, so let's move on to get more specific about the superlative expressions. When we use the superlative, we use of. So let's look at these example sentences. She runs the fastest of all of the players. She runs the fastest of anyone on the team. She runs the fastest of all. She runs the fastest of her whole team. The expression with of shows who we're comparing it to. Okay, so let's look at these sentences. He is working faster and faster. She has been playing more and more intensely. They have been playing less and less aggressively. Here, they're showing an increase or a decrease in the adverbs. So for short adverbs, you just repeat the whole adverb, faster and faster. If you have long adverbs, you repeat less or more, playing more and more intensely, or playing less and less aggressively. Go ahead and take a minute to study these. When we learned comparative adjectives, we learned that you can use them to show cause and effect. So let's look at the second example. The better the pizza, the higher the price. These are comparative adjectives. Better pizza causes a higher price. When you get comparative adjectives, they're followed by nouns. You can do something similar for comparative adverbs, but they have to be followed by a subject and a verb. The better she plays, the more she scores. The first example uses comparative adverbs that show cause and effect. Better playing equals higher scoring. Thank you so much for listening. This is Heidi Holycross-Lui at the University of Northern Colorado, and I hope that you feel more confident using comparative and superlative adverbs.